Soundcast.
This is a Village Soundcast Network original production.
This is Less Than Live with Kate or Die, a bi-weekly podcast about comics from all angles. I'm going to talk to you about what I'm reading and doing in the industry, as well as interviewing some of my friends and favorite creators. So come along with me on this journey into geek culture. On today's show, we're celebrating lucky number 13 in a brand new year with talk about comics and a chat with Twitter tycoon Cohen Edenfield about social media, breaking into the business, and, yeah, Archie's multiple girlfriends. Again. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're on episode Lucky 13, and I'm very thrilled. It is one of my favorite numbers of all the numbers in the world. Fun fact, my other favorite numbers are 27 and 1043. Now you know me a little better. I hope your New Year's and holidays were wonderful. If you are not a holiday celebrating person, I hope that the progression of December into January was enjoyable for you, and that all things in your life are getting better all the time. I was here in the cold in Canada, and I am just about to head back to the sunny embrace of California, and I'm very excited to escape the snow because it has just started to snow here, and it's dipping well below 0 Celsius. So hot dang. I'm excited to go back to the West Coast. Yeah, the holidays happened. It hasn't been too crazy. I haven't been traveling, so there's not much from that end. Just been working away. Ton of new projects getting set up for the new year, which is very, very exciting. And I finished the first arc, or the first issue, the first issue of the second arc of Edward Scissorhands today. So that was fun because that issue took a million years to write. And I'm really, really thrilled about it, because we're finally starting the second story, and it feels real now. So that's been really cool. Just working on some comics things. If you are listening the week of January 7th, Edward Scissorhands number 3 is out. It is out on January 7th. And the letters column in this one I think is real special because My Chemical Romance is brought up not once or twice, but 3 times. You would be shocked to know that the audience of Edward Scissorhands and the audience of Gerard Way overlap. I know, it's shocking. They also enjoy Hot Topic. I'm sorry to blow your minds here, but it's pretty great. The letters column for that comic has been so much fun, and I'm really glad that it turned out kind of how we hoped it would, because there's some emotional stuff in there. People are really opening up and sharing their weird teenage histories and traumas and loves, and it's been great. We've also gotten some really awesome Edward Scissorhands costumes sent in, so not everything makes it into the comic, but there's been some really, really cool stuff. So if you were a person who's enjoying Edward Scissorhands and you had a weird teenage life, there's info on my blog, but it's basically letters at idwpublishing.com, and you can put Edward somewhere in the subject line, and putting an OK to print helps a lot too, so that we're not committing crimes. Didn't expect to plug that just now, but here we are. I just love submissions. It's great, and I really, it's been really fun to talk to people and interact and really bring people into the weird world of that comic. And I love letters columns, and it's just so fun. It's my first one. If you are listening to this the week of January 14th on the Wednesday, then you can now go pick up not only Bravest Warriors number 28, but the last issue of Fraggle Rock. They've been coming out on the same week, which is weird and crazy, but great. And 4 is the last issue of Fraggle Rock. And there's going to be a beautiful hardcover from Archaea coming out in, I think, March, that we're just finishing up working on all the back matter and supplementary material for. So that's cool. Bravest Warriors 28 wraps up a storyline that I have been really subtly touting as the lesbian mermaid arc because I got to do a thing I wanted to do. So that's going to be the last issue of that. And then there's going to be a really fun one-shot of Littlest Warriors. So as the Bravest Warriors as kids at an old money themed children's play place. So it's basically like a Chuck E. Cheese that's fashioned as if it was from The Great Gatsby. It'll make sense when you read it. Maybe. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. My friend Carla Pacheco, who is awful, but also great, is running a Kickstarter right now for a book that she wrote called Inspector Pancakes, helps the president of France solve the White Orchid murders, which is a children's book that can also be read as an adult book. Basically, it's designed as a little golden book with beautiful illustrations, but then in the top margin, in tiny text, is the adult story. So you can read it to a child, but you don't have to read them the whole thing. Really shouldn't. You would probably go to jail. But I'm involved with the Kickstarter. I did a piece of incentive art for it. So you can look that up, Inspector Pancakes. It's a really funny thing to say. And contribute to it because I want the book to get made. But also, the more you contribute, the more I get paid. So that would be great. And no pressure, but money helps us all be happy. I don't know. I really hope that you had a great holiday. I have a ton of comics to recommend, so let's get to that. And coming up later on the show, we're doing a contest. It's fun. It's gonna be neat. I hope that you're gonna want to be a part of it. I don't know. All right, let's do it.
What is Kate reading?
What am I reading now?
What is Kate reading?
What am I reading now?
Well, I definitely spent some time over the holidays catching up on some stuff. So I'm happy to report that almost all of the series that I really love are still amazing. And as I say that, I can't actually think of any of the ones that are bad. But a lot of things were out. There's always a bunch of stuff that comes out right before the holidays, but Miss Marvel, still amazing. Witches is still amazing. The Kitchen issue 2 was fantastic. And The Wicked and the Divine is really, really great. And I'm so glad that they're back for that second arc. Pretty excited that I got a special insult in the letters column or backup material of Wicked and the Divine number 6. I feel like I'm really going down in history as the person most often referenced in the back matter of Image Comics, because I've made a special appearance in at least 2 issues of Sex Criminals in the back matter, and I'm going for Bitch Planet. Really working on that. I don't know if I talked enough about Bitch Planet last time, but I went back and read it again, and that is the sci-fi women's prison series that Kelly Sue DeConnick and Valentine Delandro are doing, and that, oh man, so good. I feel like so many people have been talking about it, and I just keep thinking like it just came out, even though I think we're gunning up towards issue 2 now. But man, what a that series is just such an angry kick in the face to the patriarchy. And it's great. And Kelly Sue DeConnick remains my hero pretty much. So those were all really great. Image Expo is this week, if you're listening to it, the week of January 8th in California somewhere, but not close enough to where I'm going to be in California. And I'm kind of bummed about it because I love so many people at Image. I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to announce because last year there was a ton of stuff. I mean, I think Bitch Planet was announced at Image Expo last year, so it's going to be fun. Keeping an ear out, an eye out, several whatever listening devices. All going to be really great. Also, from that same family, the Brubaker duo of Velvet and the Fade Out, Velvet number 8 and the Fade Out number 3, both really excellent. Velvet, I mean, I talk about it all the time, but I don't see a lot of press for it. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And I don't want to say that I know it's because the female main character is not a young, sexy woman, but an older, sexy woman. But I still think that series is the best spy story going. And that one, yeah, Brubaker, Steve Epting, and Elizabeth Breitweiser. Elizabeth Breitweiser is also the colorist on The Fade Out, which is Brubaker's other series right now, which is the Hollywood Noir. And Sean Phillips is drawing that one. And The Fade Out, the covers on that series are fantastic. That one, yeah, I brought up before, Hollywood Noir story about a leading lady is murdered and all of the different people involved in the studio are implicated and who knows what's going on. And the third issue had a lot of nudity in it. It was a little sexy. It was great. But that was really awesome. I put it to myself to actually try some new series. And checked out Rumble number 1, which is from John Arcudi, James Herron, and Dave Stewart is coloring it. And that is a really cool first issue. But basically a kid, well, he's a young guy working at a bar, and this old guy comes in and they have a really great conversation where the old guy's like calling the younger guy on his shit about winning a girl back. And then there are demons and a sword and a giant shadowy figure coming for the sword. And it's a really cool, I mean, it has that same kind of tone as like Ghost Rider or Southern Bastards where it's real hard. But the art is really, really beautiful. I mean, I would say it also fits in that realm of Tradd Moore and Jason Latour. Just gorgeous. Like somewhere, I really feel like the art falls somewhere in the middle. So definitely check that out. I'm going to keep picking that up. My boyfriend Jeremy recommended it to me and I was like, oh yeah, we'll see. And then picked it up and read it twice. So I love it. My favorite thing that I read over the holidays was actually just one first issue, which was They're Not Like Us. And that one I had been into because the preview looked really cool. But it's Eric Stevenson, Simon Gain, who's an artist I didn't know, but now want to read everything from, and colored by, of course, Jordi Belair, who colors 80% of comics and never sleeps and is a god. They're Not Like Us starts out as a very X-Men-esque premise. Basically, a girl is attempting to commit suicide because she can't shut up the voices in her head. She's telepathic to a certain extent. And this mod, young Mick Jagger-looking guy comes and basically takes her out of the hospital by using his mind. He has the ability to kind of convince people of things. And so he takes her out and recruits her to this home. And I don't want to spoil too much, but there are a number of other characters who have interesting abilities, and their motives might not be as just as the X-Men or any other super team. And the first issue, just the last page of that issue, is so good. Just from a writing standpoint, getting to the end of it and then trying to flip to the next page and going, what? Wait, what? And being shocked like that was so awesome. It's a really, really beautiful comic, and I cannot wait to see more. And I loved Rumble #1 a lot, but yeah, They're Not Like Us totally made a huge impression on me. I also checked out Tooth and Claw #1, which is a series that is now called The Autumnlands Tooth and Claw, which is Kurt Busiek, Ben Dewey, and Jordi Belair is also coloring it. Again, I don't understand her, but she's amazing. Which is a very Magic the Gathering-esque feel. It's animal people in a magical world and a savior that they're calling upon who might not be all he seems. And it's really, really beautiful. Really interesting setup in the first issue, and I believe the second one is out. I haven't read it yet, but it looks really cool. I just so routinely blown away by how awesome all the new series coming out from Image are, which is why, again, I'm so excited for the releases at Image Expo, because it's just, I mean, I try so many, Marvel and DC series, and we'll give them a shot, but Image is just like the quality rate that they've got going on right now is pretty fantastic. So I loved all of those, and over Christmas I got gifts. I got gifts of comics from my I recently left my job at the comic book store. Shed a tear. But from my coworkers there, and I'm pretty excited to crack into them. I haven't checked out any of them yet, but I got the solo hardcover that DC put out, which is a whole bunch of different artists basically tackling whatever DC character they wanted to. And there are a ton of amazing people involved and some really, really beautiful work. So I've wanted that for a couple of years, and I'm really happy that I have it and I can dig into it. My coworker Lisa gave me a book that I cannot wait to read, and I think I might bring it with me on my extremely long flight to Los Angeles this week, which is called Kisses, Sighs, and Cherry Blossom Pink. It's a collection by Milk Morinaga. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. Milk Morinaga of like girls love manga, but the girliest, pinkest, cutest, shoujo, like adorable Yuri manga. And yeah, she basically gave it to me and told me that I needed some fluff. And I'm pretty excited to check it out because I've been flipping through it and there are so many rose petals and sparkling gazes between ladies. And I like it. I like to mix it up, read some real hard image spy stories and then pretty Sailor Moon ladies smooching. I also got the Lois Lane, A Celebration of 75 Years, big hardcover, and I'm stoked to check that out because Lois Lane is a character that I don't know anywhere near enough about for being a lady who likes comics and likes ladies in comics. So that's going to be awesome. And my friend Natalie gave me Hellboy the Midnight Circus, which it turns out I thought I owned, but I had only read. So I'm stoked to have a copy of that now. It was great. I didn't expect to get any comics over Christmas, but I did, and they were lovely. And it was nice to kind of hole up a couple times in the cold weather and catch up on the enormous stack of books.
She's so sweet. Keyleth is gonna answer your tweets.
So since people who are involved in our Patreon get first crack at questions, because I'm totally not above preferential treatment, our first question comes from Jake Myler, who we've answered questions from before, but he is the artist on Fraggle Rock. So hi, Jake. You are the greatest. And Jake asks a very timely question, which is, since the new year has begun merely days ago, any resolutions or even just goals for the coming year? I made a couple. Basically, I think my biggest one this year is to read more books, not just comics. I feel this year that I really kind of slacked in terms of actually putting new books into my head. I obviously read a lot of comics, but I miss it. I miss, just actually finishing books and novels. And I've been really trying over the last couple months and really getting back into it. It feels silly to be like, oh yeah, I forgot to read, but it happens with the internet. So that's, I think, my biggest one. To budget my time a little better, because this is my first year that I've been working freelance and I don't have a day job anymore. So actually focusing on getting up and reminding myself that I do still have to put in 8 hours of work a day and not to just sit around and watch cartoons in my pajamas all day to try and do that. And yeah, there's, a couple moving and life and actual like real world goals that I have, but comics wise, I think those are the biggest ones. So I'm excited. 2014 got pretty rad towards the end, and I think this year's going to be great. I'm pretty excited that I'm not going to anywhere near as many conventions this year because I traveled so much last year. I felt like I was going to lose my mind. And it's kind of nice that now when I'm traveling, I'm going and staying with my boyfriend. And, I still work and I still get to see a lot of people in the industry, but I don't have to be on a plane every 3 days. It's really nice. Zane, also from our Patreon page, asks, while looking you up on Twitter, I noticed Bill Corbett follows you, which I didn't know. Hey, Bill Corbett. Which leads to my question. Are you a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan? Now, he wrote MST3K, which I assume was like his way to see if I really was. But yes, I'm a massive Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan. I've talked about it a little bit on the show before. I kind of have a Mystery Science Theater tattoo because I have a tattoo of the Metaluna mutant from This Island Earth, which is the movie that they make fun of in Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. So, yeah, I'm a fan. I definitely haven't seen all of the episodes, but and my friend Chris Haley really got me back into watching them this year, and I've been going through a ton of them that I never saw because I think I had this really limited amount that I had access to growing up because we're in Canada, so we didn't have sci-fi. So the only way you could watch Mystery Science Theater was if you had the VHS, if you ordered from like the Rhino catalog, I think. So I thought there were only maybe 12 episodes of Mystery Science Theater. I did not realize it was on for 10, 12 seasons, whatever. So yeah, there's so many things that I didn't even know about Pearl until a year ago. So it's been great. And I really love Riff Tracks as well, which is the modern version. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry. Mystery Science Theater is the greatest. So yeah, that's my answer to that. It rules. It's awesome. At 8-Bit Hobo, who still has a Christmas Twitter name. So no pressure, but you're a little behind. Asks, I saw you using a Cintiq during the elf sketches. Are they as awesome as they look? And how has it changed how you work? The Cintiq is a drawing tablet where you draw on the surface of the screen. Like the screen is It's like if you had a tablet and drew right on your computer screen, basically, instead of drawing on a tablet, in your lap or whatever, and then seeing what you're doing on a screen. It's right there. And I've wanted one for a really, really long time, but I couldn't really justify it because I am a writer mostly. So spending a lot of money on drawing equipment always felt a little silly, but, I had saved up last year and I was in the States and it was a little less expensive. So I got one. And I have to tell you that it is the greatest thing I have ever purchased. It has completely changed the way that I work. I've pretty much only been doing digital work since I got it about a month ago. And while I'm still learning, it speeds up the process so much because my traditional way of working is to pencil and ink everything by hand, then scan it in and color it. And when you're penciling and inking by hand, you have to use rulers and it takes quite a bit of work, and it's still a lot of work to draw on a tablet. But it does save you that process of having to move from one medium to another. And I love it, and I'm still figuring out how to use it. And a lot of my friends are really pressuring me to figure out how to use Manga Studio because it confuses the hell out of me. And I'm still working in Photoshop. But it is really, really, really awesome. If you're at larger comic book conventions like New York Comic Con and San Diego, Wacom, which is the company that makes them, often has demonstration booths where you can go and try one. And even some art schools will actually have them because a lot of schools that focus digitally have them as part of their setup. I've seen that. I think they had that at Heroes Con, actually. And, so, I wouldn't say a Cintiq is something for someone who's just getting into drawing because it is fairly expensive. I mean, the smaller one that I have, they start at about $1,000. So think cheap. But it's really, really cool. And the problem is if you do draw even a little bit digitally, as soon as you use one, you want one and it never goes away because it's so cool. So it's been really neat. And it's actually made me enjoy drawing again for the first time in a really long time because that process of penciling and inking and scanning and coloring, while totally valid and works for a lot of people, was starting to get frustrating and as much as I liked the work that I came up with, it stopped being fun. And it's silly how something just like having a new tool for making art can really make it fun again. And just having that passion, like I just started drawing, is it's awesome. I was asked by someone who goes by Social Justice Amazon, but whose Twitter name is @MarySew, S-E-W. Hi, I'd like to hear more about the creative process behind writing comics. How does your typical workday look like? That's okay. Yeah. I, like I said before, I have a weird working process and I'm definitely not as productive as I should be. I am incredibly easily distracted and I work best at night, and I'm kind of a night owl. I usually stay up until about 2 or 3 in the morning, either talking to my boyfriend who is on a time difference or reading. And I write best at night, so I tend to sleep in till about 10 or 11, which is the greatest benefit of not having a day job, because I am not a morning person and I've never been a morning person. And now that I can legitimately get up at 10, it's great. Which I will do, and get up and shower and go about my business. And I usually start, answering emails and stuff like that, getting things out of the way before everyone in California wakes up, because that time difference is kind of an advantage, because I can write stuff at 11 in the morning and it shows up before they even get to work. It's great. So I will do that for a little while. Then I usually take a break and do some errands, come back, and then if I have any art things to do for the day, I will usually try and get them done during that time, because I do have a really hard time writing during the day. I don't know what it is. But if I do have something that I really need to get done, I will unplug and go to a coffee shop and turn off my internet and write, because, I just have the worst, easily distracted attention span. But I can draw, and usually I do spend a lot of the day drawing. I'll go and eat something, talk to my roommates, remember that there are real people in the world, maybe go outside if I'm feeling crazy. And then I come back and write, and I write a lot at night, and I write most of my scripts at night for a pretty significant chunk of time. And I know that it is definitely not the best way to work, but, kind of figuring out when I am the most productive in different ways has kind of helped. I do really like drawing during the day. I can draw from right when I get up in the morning, but I can't write. I will just sit there and feel, writer's block and just stare at my computer. So trying to figure out when my peaks are for different activities has been working fairly well. And it's different when I travel, and I write really well on planes. I write really well whenever there's not internet around, basically. So a lot of the time, if I do have deadlines or I'm behind on something, I just have to basically turn off all my internet and flip my phone over and force myself to get it done. So yeah, my process is I procrastinate a lot, and I still manage to mostly make my deadlines.
Kate's having a contest and you might win. Lots of great prizes for you and your kid. Why don't you enter? You never know, you just might win, 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 win. The Great Kate Comic Contest!
Here at Less Than Live, we're trying out something new, and we're having our first contest. The rules here are simple. Take a selfie, or go really old school and have someone actually take a photograph, if you're a crazy person, of you listening to Less Than Live. There's some examples of this on Village Soundcast and probably also on the show notes, but get creative. I want to see a picture of you in front of the Eiffel Tower, or making out, or in your comic shop. But send it to us. You can do it by tweeting at LTLcast or email us at the absurdly long address of lessthanlivewithkateordie@gmail.com with some info about how to contact you if you make the cut. You want to hear about prizes? You get your pick. A short spot on the show to talk about whatever comics you like, or, if you're shy, I'll talk at you one-on-one, no recording. On top of that, you'll get a prize pack of comics tailored specifically for you. So what are you waiting for? Your real-life obligations? Just do it.
Kate's gonna interview you. Kate's gonna interview you now. She's gonna ask a question. Kate's gonna interview you. Kate's gonna interview you now. This is the interview section.
So today we are talking to Cohen Edenfield, who is, we're doing a little comics project together, but you know him best as Cohen is a Ghost on Twitter, which is a strange way to introduce somebody, but his Twitter name is @SkullMandible, and if you pretty much anytime you ever see a list of best tweets, he's on there. You've seen it. So
they're too kind.
that's what I'm doing. Hey, Cohen.
Hey, Kate. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
I thought
How
I
are
would
you doing?
start it off with a little bit of ego boosting.
Well, that's always good,
Yeah.
and that's a good way into my good graces. Always. I'm going to wrestle about a lot now for a minute. Now that we're recording.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Get my wrestles out. For folks at home. So how are you? How are you doing?
Oh, you've turned this right around.
Oh yeah.
How dare you? This is my interview program. Cohen, how are you?
I'm great. This is the first chance I've had to relax since July.
That seems very stressful.
Yeah, it's a, PhD program combined with, the demands of being a social media mogul.
Yeah, tell the audience a little bit about that. So you are a PhD student and instructor.
Yes, I take classes. I'm almost done with that. I get like another year and a half of that. And then I have to take exams and write a dissertation, which is a book no one will ever read. And I also teach undergrad students, two classes a semester. So this past semester was my first time standing in front of a class and doing that. And on the last day, a student came up and said, hey, can we follow you now? What are you talking about? Because I thought I'd been keeping it a secret. But it wasn't. And they knew, apparently, that's just, word has gotten out. But on the plus side, all the other people in my cohort are struggling to fill up their classes, and both of mine filled up on day one. So, good, I guess. We'll see.
That's really crazy. I mean, I would assume that pretty much everyone in your class would know your secret double life.
Oh no! I for a long time, I actually had a really panicked reaction at not panicked, but I panicked on the inside. It was like an explosion in my heart, but just smile pasted on my face. I was at this department thing, and a professor I don't really know that well came up and said, "So I hear you have the big famous Twitter account," and I almost threw up on him, but instead I said, I don't know what you mean. But he got it out of me, and it apparently just got out, and it just kept getting out and getting out, and now I don't know. Which is only recently I've put my last name out there. I was really cagey and sly about it for a long time, but now it's out there.
It's too late.
I think it's a good one.
The people know.
They know, thanks to you.
Well, no, not just thanks to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I suppose this thing that we're doing will have your actual name on it, so.
That was sort of the big thing, is like I wanted to put my real name on that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my first thing like that.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to have my name on it.
So for a lot of people who listen to this who are comics people, who might not be as big into Twitter, they might not know you, the unlearned fools of the world.
Right. Well, thank God for you, Kate. Leading them into the light.
Exactly. I'm just trying to educate the masses. So Cohen here, when did you start what
Twitter?
The thing that you do on Twitter? I don't even really know how to explain it.
I tweet, I make jokes. It is weird. A couple of times a week, someone will ask me, and I'm not quite sure if I'm being made fun of. They say, "Hey, you're really funny, but I don't know why you're famous. But what do you do?" And I'm just like, "This is it, man. This is it.
Yeah,
you found it." Though, as you know, personally, I've recently been trying to branch out into other things.
Yeah.
But you asked me how I got started. So I got started. I just started doing it. I had a year between undergrad and grad school because I didn't get into grad school.
And what are you studying? What's your PhD in?
Literature, particularly English lit, which is to say Southern lit in America, particularly Southern lit by women. And that is my thing. That is what I like. Mm-hmm. I like Flannery O'Connor. I like Eudora Welty. I like Toni Morrison, who isn't really from the South, but she wrote her master's thesis on Faulkner, so that counts.
I laughed at that joke as if I got that reference, which is great. I feel very posh.
That says a lot for my timing. You know where the joke is.
Mm-hmm. This is not my first rodeo.
Oh yeah, so I just made jokes, and then one day Ryan North retweeted me, and then that jumped me up.
Was that it? Was it Ryan?
Yeah, I was at like 3,500, and then I made that joke about the peanuts, the capitalist peanut thing everybody likes, and he retweeted it, and then it just sort of went from there, and then just kept going. Yeah. And here we are, and it's actually turned into a mildly profitable sideline income, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, so you managed, like the peanut, to capitalize on your success. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, first you get a lot of encouragement from your friends, which is what I did, which is what I got from you when you told me that I should do it.
Yes, and I always encourage everyone to make money.
Yeah, and I hope this isn't. I hope I'm not going to ambush you with this, but you were actually a major source of inspiration for me.
Oh, thanks.
Because I read a post you made about asking and trying to get things and getting it out there, and I could just see you out there, sort of, on your grind and like getting stuff.
I'm always hustling. Always.
You are. You are.
I have just it's more a crippling fear of being broke. And so I've become very good at finding ways to not be broke. Just it's all fear, like any person, I think, in the creative arts.
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Fear. Mine is vanity.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah, and a pit in my heart that I need to fill with love all the time, constantly. So that's how I cracked in to this business. I need more people to know me and need me.
Mm-hmm. Building up the Cohen as a ghost brand.
Yes, the empire.
So what do you do? What's your business? So
I sell things in Etsy. I have an Etsy shop, which is I think it's just Etsy Skull Mandible. But if you just search Etsy Cohen is a ghost, that'll find it too. And probably there'll be a link somewhere. But it started off as a joke because I thought, okay, I got to monetize this. I'm doing this. I'm spending at least 45 minutes to an hour on this, just like reading this website and making jokes on it every day. This needs to start paying out somehow. So
Yep.
I thought long and hard about it, and I thought, okay, there's two ways to go about this. There's the thing where you try to do something very legitimate and nobody gets mad about it. And then there's the thing where you just go with the most audacious route possible. And I thought, what's the most ridiculous thing I could be selling? And the answer was handwritten tweets.
Yeah.
So for $10 American,
Yes.
I will write a tweet out for you on a note card. I will handwrite it, and then I will put it in the mail, and I will send it to you. And for another $2, I will laminate it.
Laminate. Oh, wow. I didn't know that you had gotten that far.
Oh, no, that was, preserve it for sure.
Oh,
And I
that's
wrote like this
fantastic.
2.5 page long description of the thing, sort of written from the perspective of somebody who was furious about it, sort of raging about the idea that somebody was selling their tweets. And
That's
I think,
really good.
I imagine that somewhere there are people who are mad about it, and that drives me too.
Mm-hmm.
That's delicious to me. That just makes me so happy. And so it paid my phone bill the first month.
That's amazing.
And it paid my power bill the next month. And now it's just doing okay.
Yeah.
And I also have my Monopoly cards.
Yes. Now, you sent me a set of those for Christmas, which was
Yes.
such a treat. I got them on, I believe, my last day at the comic book store. They arrived. So it was a monumental moment.
Your last day ever?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I quit. I quit the comic book store.
I'm not caught up.
I unfortunately have a real job now, which is I make comics for a living full time now. Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Strange Adventures are your own now.
Yes. I'll still always be involved. And I basically told the Valkyries they couldn't kick me out. So I remain leader, even though I don't work in a comic book store anymore. But I'm still going to run like the ladies' nights that we do and like the free comic book day stuff. I don't run that, but, participate.
You will rule it, is what you
With an iron fist.
God queen of that.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Again. So I'm pretty sure I got those. And they were... Now, was that a thing that you were tweeting, or was it...
Yeah, that was like the second big jump.
Yeah, because I think
so
that's
like
sort of
Ryan,
about when I came on board.
Yeah, it was just after. So Ryan North retweeted, and then I went up. It jumped up to like 6 or 7 within like a month, and then and these are always, anytime I have like some successful thing that like takes off, it's because I wasn't doing work I'm supposed to be doing for school,
Right.
which is really making me want to quit school, because it's really reinforcing that I don't need to be doing this, but I don't need to be essentially paying to do this. But so I'm just sitting at my desk in my office. I'm supposed to be working, and I saw something about Monopoly, and then I just made these like funny cards. I thought they were funny, and then I just tweeted them, and then just like within 10 minutes, it was like 1,000
Oh my God.
retweet, and then like now I think it's like 23,000 retweets on that. Like it's
That's
like,
insane.
yeah, it was, and that was the one where it's like all of a sudden it's like, like Andy Richter is following me, and Joss Whedon, and Pat.
Oh my
Oswalt.
God.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck is going on? I don't.
Wow. That's amazing. I've never had anything on Twitter take off like that.
It wasn't, and then all of a sudden people are saying, "Hey, where can I buy these?" And then so that was back in. Let me see, that was back in like April. So market savvy that I am, I waited 9 months about to start selling them again for like $10 or $12. I don't know how much the price is now, but I print them off, mail them to you. Again, I'm just putting them in an envelope.
Now, do you draw the little like icon as well, or?
Oh no, but I
No.
used the one from like 1910 Monopoly.
Oh,
So it's actually fine.
okay.
So it's all good.
That's amazing. Yeah, because they're very, it's very weird, surrealist, like weird fiction Monopoly cards,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And they're amazing, and
Yeah,
you can integrate them into your actual game.
Yeah, that's my
Can you
hope
not?
is that people
Yeah.
will just slip those things in and then deny any knowledge of how they got into the set. Put them in the Monopoly. You wait a few weeks. You suggest Monopoly, or you wait for somebody else. Wait years. Wait till the next time your family plays Monopoly. Say nothing. Know nothing. Deny all knowledge.
Yes.
And buy them because oh my God, please, it's getting so cold.
Here's a funny thing. I'm trying to go to it now, and Etsy is down.
Are you fucking kidding me? That is like the
I'm
worst.
sure it'll be back up by the time that this airs, because we have
Yeah.
a day buffer. But right now, as we speak, I was trying because I wanted to read aloud some of your
I
Monopoly
know.
cards.
There it is.
Is
It's
it
here. There
what?
it is.
It's not
I see
working
it.
for me. Maybe it's America internet. American
Wait,
Etsy is fine.
We'll go to Etsy.
You know
go
what's
to
really
Etsy.com.
fun to listen to on a podcast is technical difficulties.
Oh, the people love it.
The people do love it.
They want
Um,
to see us. They want to see us terrified and struggling.
It's so weird. I don't. What a funny time that we're
What a
all
terrible
having.
time.
What a funny
Well,
and terrible time.
what if I just sent you like the link to the tweet? Would that
Yeah, I
work?
don't know why it's
That'd be-
not working. You can if you like.
Well, I do like to sell things, so
I do.
maybe people will be
I want to help you.
delighted.
Um,
Okay, so
as you were in the
oh, wait,
where have you?
was
Where,
Etsy taking down just like was that just like a cover?
no, it really just won't work for me. It's fine. I'll try it again in a little bit. So
Okay.
to bring this back around for the people who have come into this as a comics podcast and are like, why are you talking to a person on Twitter? You are pretty well, known and followed within the comics community, I guess. If Ryan North was sort of the first person that was really putting you out there, I could totally see that happening. For the people at home who don't know, who truly are fools, Ryan North wrote the first 35 issues of the Adventure Time comics, but he is best known for Dinosaur Comics, which he's written for upwards of 10, 11 years, something like that.
He's written in a long time.
A very long time. And he is also the writer on The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which is coming out this week.
So excited.
I am so excited.
I've loved Squirrel Girl is my favorite
I'm so
because you can't beat her. She's unbeatable.
She is a squirrel girl. And Ryan has given me some insider behind the scenes information about characters that are to come, and I am so excited. I can't talk about it here, but I can tell you that it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Tell me later.
I will,
Give me the-
in secret. But so you're doing that, and then you and I are doing a project together,
Yes.
which is the first time that I have drawn something that someone else has written.
I didn't know that when I asked you to.
Well, that's why I
didn't
think that's why I
realize-
was so shocked, because no one ever asks me to draw for them. People ask me to write for them or to write and draw a thing. But I always feel that my strength is so much more in my writing than my art. So I was quite shocked. I was just like, "Are you sure?"
Well, I love both, but in particular, your ghost comic you've been doing in the
Yes.
little town which the name escapes me because I always just go to Kate or Die.
It's
What
Little
is-
Ghost. It's just called Little
Little
Ghost.
Ghost.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that, and that was just so. It was so perfect, and I was like, "This has got to be it. This is perfect. This has got to be the thing." And I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
No, it's fun. I was surprised, but I enjoy a challenge, and I like doing something different. So we are doing, and it's so funny because in these situations, I never know like what you can talk about and what you can't. But we've already talked about it online, so that's far gone. But we're doing an Amazing World of Gumball comic.
Yes.
I think I've already talked about it on Twitter. So whoops.
Yeah. Oh, I was told to go nuts.
Okay,
was the
cool.
Exact quote. So,
Perfect. So yeah, that's from Boom. So you're working with my longtime editor Shannon Waters.
yes. Yes. That was a weird thing.
Yeah. Was it
Because
weird?
Well, no, not working with her, but the way it happened was she was okay. So you might know this a little bit, or you might not because you're just really good. But so there's kind of I've been writing comics and trying to find an artist since I was 6.
Oh, wow.
I actually used to just take like a computer paper and just trace Calvin and Hobbes. I would trace Calvin and Hobbes strips and just write new dialogue.
Wow.
And I have like pages and pages and scripts and all this stuff. And it has just been all I've ever heard, just all over the place was if you can't draw, nobody cares about your script. Just don't even try. People stumble into these jobs and you can't get them. And that really, for a long time, I really sort of gave up on the idea that I was ever going to find anyone who wanted to read anything, who wanted to draw something based on, something I had written. And Shannon was said something in a thing on Twitter about artists. It's really hard to find. Please make it easy to find your contact information on your artist page. And then I sort of joked. I was like, but I was thinking of you as I did it because I just read that post about putting yourself out there and asking for things. So I said, oh hey, what about writers? But also kind of a joke, like sort of in the way that I often ask for things I really want, but as a joke because I'm terrified of rejection.
Yeah.
So
I
said,
do
what
that all
about
the
writers?
time.
And all the time. And she said, "Oh, are you serious? I didn't even know that was an option. I'd love to." And then it just went from there. And there's potentially other things in the works, maybe that again I'm terrified to talk about because I don't want to wake from the dream that things are actually.
That's pretty exciting.
It's extremely exciting. I'm super excited. It's ridiculous. It's really it's like the realization. I know it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. This is me being self-deprecating, but it's literally the realization of like a 20-year dream.
That's so
to
awesome.
Actually, and you are making it happen.
Well, try and help.
So,
I'm pretty excited and like totally terrified because I have never drawn anybody else's script, so I'm like mortified that it's going to be awful. But I am excited to do it, and I'm going to start doing that when I'm in LA. So that's going to be really neat. I know. I'm going to draw it on my brand new Cintiq.
Is your bow going to be there?
He will.
Oh man,
he will be around.
It'll be blessed.
We'll be blessed by our sordid love. It'll be great. I'm very, very excited. I'm very happy that he's getting to know all my weird internet comics friends. But the thing that I wanted to bring up, not even as a specific point, but just as an interesting fact that we do. Okay, backtrack a little bit. People who are really dismissive of social media, and then you look at things like this. Like you and I both are only in comics because of social media.
Absolutely.
I got into it from Tumblr and Twitter. You got into it from being a ghost that makes jokes on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, what a strange age that we live in that this can happen.
Yeah, and my big other person, I shouldn't have said, but the other person who really, I have a pantheon of people whose their attitudes and actions in their life inspire me, and one of them, of course, is Ryan North, and just the way, and for a couple of years, I hated him because. Well, I know it's impossible to hate Ryan. No, I know, but not because I told you, just I couldn't find anyone to draw anything I'd written, and the concept of dinosaur comics was so perfect. And it was, it's what I did when I was like a child, just like taking like art over and over and just like adding new words. And I was like, oh my God, I want to have done this. Like, it was an ugly side.
Everyone wishes they had come up with it.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many comics like that. And I think, a lot of people who get into comics credit like manga or like superhero comics or things like that for really, really getting them to not just like comics as an art, but want to make them. But for me, it was webcomics, and it was people like Ryan and like XKCD and Diesel Sweeties, all three of which in their own way are comics by people who don't really draw. You know, and I mean, XKCD is stick figures, Diesel Sweeties is pixel art. Now, Diesel Sweeties is definitely the most artistic, but still, it's definitely people who got into it because of things they wanted to say and like things they wanted to write. And then, you know, combining that with Kate Beaton, who was then scratching her comics on like spare paper working at a museum. And
yeah, exactly.
It's just like, I find that so much more inspiring, you know?
Absolutely. Or like Brian Clevenger. He does like Atomic Robo. He started off making sprite comics of Final Fantasy characters saying bad words. But it's insane. This access we now have to just... It's weird because I feel like a lot of people are still stuck in that mindset where the first thing you have to do is sit down and write a novel.
Yeah.
If you want to write, you can't... Or the first thing, if you want to make comics, you need to make comics and then send them off, and then hopefully they will be bought, and then the next day you'll get a big plaque in the mail that says you are an official comics person. And no one gets jobs like that, and no one actually develops their skills by starting on their final project.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I find so funny is that when people will be like, oh man, check out this weird comic that like Ed Brubaker did 10 years ago. Isn't this funny? And you're like, man, everybody had to start somewhere. You know, like everybody gets into it. You know, I mean, for me, it's, the Adventure Time stuff. But like everybody, you got to find something. And it's not always, you know, where you want to end up being where you start. But it's really, I just find it so fascinating. And I can just like always talk about how social media has made it, it's just so different to get into this business than I am told it used to be.
Yeah, which we owe a lot of to people like Shannon, who came up, you know, fought their way up, and then are willing to then like look at people like themselves and say, okay, who are these people who are in this who are these people who are not, you know, and I think maybe a big thing, especially a route, I think, for women, for people of color, because it's whereas we've got Marvel and DC are getting better, but there's totally that idea of the 25-year-old who walks into DC with his stack of things under his arm and he shakes a hand and it's "you're hired," and that happens 3 or 4 times a decade, and that's where all the comics people come from. But there's all these avenues now that are maybe people start on them, and because there's, you know, nobody's going to reject your Twitter. Yeah. Because what is there to reject? You know, it's just who can get mad at like a Twitter account? I mean, well, people do all the time, every day, constantly. But it allows people who maybe are intimidated for whatever reason or to, I don't know. Am I talking about it?
No, I completely, I know what you're talking about. It's a thing that I always bring up, and especially when I'm on panels and things like that, because people will ask me, I mean, I get put on these like breaking into comics panels, which I find so funny because I've been in comics for a grand total of like 3 years. You know, like I'm still doing it, guy. Like I don't work for the big 2 yet. So, you know, I'm definitely in a much better place than I was when I was making angry feminist comics that were very poorly worded on Tumblr. But you know, all I can say to people is just like put it out there, and you know, people are going to be terrible about it sometimes, but you have to do it. You have to get seen, and I do think we are really lucky for people like Shannon. And I think she really, whether people know it or not, really kind of turned a corner in comics looking at indie artists and webcomic artists and hiring them for mainstream work, because I don't think it was a thing that was being done anywhere near on the same scale before Adventure Time. Because I think that broke a lot of people into, you know, getting work. Absolutely. And having a job so that if they wanted to apply somewhere else, they could say, well, I already did this thing. You know, I have been published.
Yeah, that's exactly. I now feel like, because so many places have, if you've never been published, no applications. Like it's such a huge door to break down just to have your name in print in a comic.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
That one,
how
it's
much of a
awesome.
barrier that is.
It's so much fun. And you're going to be so excited because this will, I mean, the one that we're doing will sort of be the first time that yours will be in print, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me think.
Unless you-
I was in a zine about butts. I wrote a
Well-
butt sonnet.
That's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, my students found it.
Oh,
Yeah,
the butt sonnet. The butt sonnet's amazing.
Oh yeah.
The butt sonnet is brilliant. Oh my goodness. If you have access to Google, person listening, you should look up the butt sonnet. I assume it's
Yeah.
findable.
Yeah, Astrophil and Swella. If you-
It's so brilliant.
with 2 S's on the S and then
Oh my god.
Swella.
It's brilliant.
So, yeah, that was that was actually Emily Partridge put that together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, hey, I'll do a thing, and so I wrote that, and bam, there it is.
That's
But,
awesome.
there's nothing like paid work, is there?
Well, and it'll be fun because you'll get to go into the shop, the ye old comic establishment, and you can pick up a comic and your name's on the inside.
Yes,
It's very exciting.
I'll pick up 40 or 50, and
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going to spend. I'm easily going to spend everything I get paid for it just buying copies of it. I think,
Yeah.
but that's okay. But it's worth it. It's for me.
It's very exciting. I mean, I distinctly remember because I still have several copies of the first Marceline backup with my
God.
little Lumpy Space Princess story in it.
Oh my God, that was you.
Yeah, I mean, because I got started, I did the one about Lumpy Space Princess and Slime Princess,
Yes.
where Lumpy Space Princess turns out to be like a crazy stalker fangirl.
Yes. Oh my God, I didn't know that was you.
That was me. That was my first. That was my first like published comic outside of the tiny little thing I did for Womanthology. So
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
so crazy.
it was
I have
crazy.
that.
And I did that,
Way
and
to
then
go.
it was the Lady Lemon Grab one in Fiona and Cake. Was the other
Yeah, I
backup
have
that I
that.
did.
I have that too.
And then I went from that to writing a graphic novel.
Yeah, big jump, which is really
Terrifying.
good too. I just read it for the first time. That's kind of the terrible thing about graduate school is I don't have time to read all the things I really want to read by all the people I really like.
Yeah.
Instead of
Even
read-
as a person who does comics for a living, I don't have time to read all this stuff I want to read.
Yeah, well, no, I mean I don't have time to read any of it. Is the thing that's terrible. And so I'm in this break right now, and so I just have this stack that I'm just like tearing through. Like I just started reading Saga.
Oh, like for the first time?
Yeah, I
God.
didn't know about it.
Oh,
So,
you are in for such a treat. That series is just unbelievably good.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes.
I love Saga so much.
Oh God, yeah, with Prince, the robots and the magic and the technology,
Yeah.
and the love.
It's so good.
Sweet.
It's so amazing.
Yes, I heard about it from you. This is actually it's an honor to be on here because
Yeah.
you really like listening. Sorry,
Gosh.
sorry. Like this has really revitalized my interest in because for a long time I didn't read comics because my first exposure to comics was when my mom went off to get her PhD. She had to stay like 3 hours away, so she would come home on the weekends, and every weekend she would come home and she would bring me like a Calvin and Hobbes anthology, and it moved from there into like other newspaper comics collections, and also in the attic, my dad found like a couple hundred Archie comics from like the 50s and the 60s that I
Yes.
just devoured. And oh my God, they were so good and so weird.
Archie is amazing. You know how much
What else?
how much I love Archie.
What a strange world they live
Oh
in.
man. I feel like there's in every other episode of the show, I just like get started on a rant about the dynamics of Archie.
It's in every. It's so weird because it's like all these relationship patterns. Well, the relationships made sense in like I don't know the 50s, but it's like they preserved them, so it's like the fellow with the 2 girls.
Yeah,
And-
just would never exist in this day and age. Ever.
Who are friends.
Yes. they are friends that are both dating the same guy, and they hate each other because they're both dating the same guy, but they're still both dating the same guy. And presumably, like, sleeping with him. I mean, obviously that's never shown in the comics, but they're like 17, and everyone's very
You know
hot.
what it is. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they hate each other, but only insofar as extends to their interactions with him. Any other time they're going shopping, they're fine.
Best friends.
Good times. They love each other. Like,
it makes no sense. I mean, if it's just so strange.
yeah.
Because there's no teenage relationship that exists like that ever.
Yeah, but I feel like it's weird because it's like I feel like also maybe there could be in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like maybe, or like 10 or 15 years, maybe we could. Like, it's weird. It's like it's so old that it's come back around again almost. We're almost there where that could be like, I don't know. I mean,
I don't, this is related. I don't often get really sort of nervous talking to other creators. It definitely happens every once in a while when it's someone that I, really like or have read a lot of their stuff, or Kelly Sue, who I've met like 20 times, and I'm still nervous around her because she's so amazing. She's just like a glowing? That's one word. Glowing and shining is what I was going for.
You're doing it right now. You're just imagining that she's there. And
and I'm stumbling because I just think about talking to her and I can't function. I'm Facebook friends with Dan Parent, who created Kevin Keller and works on Archie. And I remember that we met at a convention. He's a really nice guy. Like, we totally got along and everything. So it's a very normal thing to have happen. I'm not like bragging or anything. But the day that I got a Facebook request, I sat there and I was like, you work for Archie. Like, that was more exciting to me than if it had been someone who like draws Spider-Man, because Archie was such a massive influence on my growing up. I'm like, oh my God, you work for like the Mecca. Which is so strange. And I don't think a lot of people feel that way about Archie, but I really do.
It's definitely a touchstone in my past. This like, because I just said, I was like 5 years old, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what the world is like. And when I actually went out into the world, it was real letdown. And just from this, but that felt that weird. Oh my God, that's how I felt when Chris Straub followed me.
Yeah.
On Twitter. I was like, oh my god, and I feel like he's really breaking out right now. But he is. But for a long time, I felt like I don't know, just his stuff is like so good. Do you know Chris Straub? You know what I'm talking about?
I know the name, and now that you're saying it, I can't think of who it is.
He does Chainsaw Suit. He did Star Slip for a long time. He and Scott Kurtz did some stuff. They often team up. He did some stuff for Penny Arcade. Okay. He was on but he does this comic, and oh my god, you have to read it. It's the best. It's called Brood Hollow.
Okay, and I've heard that name.
Yeah, I talk about it too much.
Okay.
But, it's this thing where, and it actually, I keep talking about like newspaper comics when I was a kid, but I had this big like insight. It was like 100 years of newspaper comics, and there was this one page, this 2-page spread, where on one side it was the Adventures of Tintin, and on the other side it was the Adventures of Little Nemo and Slumberland. Yes. And so on one side, Tintin, and you know what Tintin looks like. It's like real simple, flat colors. He's walking around. That's sort of that French look. And on the other side, it's Little Nemo and Slumberland, which is, it would always be one enormous page, half a newspaper page color. And he was having a dream about being a whaler, and this squid was like reaching for him. And it was like, so the juxtaposition of those two images was this like thing that stayed in my head like for years. And the first time I read Brood Hollow, I was like, oh my God, did he have that book? Because it's like 1920s Americana. It's an encyclopedia salesman. It looks like Tintin, except he's in this weird little town, where people's memories aren't up to snuff, and they have too many holidays, and they're all really weird.
Okay, that sounds like my kind of deal.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there's like sudden terrifying art shifts where it gets really creepy, and there's like monsters sewing people together, and monsters that only come if you forget to shut the door.
Right.
And just ugh, it's so good.
Yeah,
and,
I'm all about that kind of thing. You know me.
Yeah, no, I know.
We're in the Night Vale fan club.
Absolutely. No, it's
That's awesome.
They could exist in the same universe.
That
It's
is
just
very cool.
fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah, I wish I made it. It's another one of those things where
I have so many comics like that. I wish I did that. I wish that was me. I wish I came up with that. So Cohen, I finally got Etsy to work here.
Oh, good.
I've been doing technical support this whole time we've been talking. Who knew?
I could tell.
I know. I disguised it very well. My goal here is that I'm going to read a few of these Monopoly pieces that you too can own by going to Cohen's Etsy store, and then I'm going to ask. Well, I mean, I guess we already kind of talked about your favorite comics, but we'll do that, and then we'll see. But
okay.
Are you ready for a dramatic reading of some of your Monopoly cards?
Okay, but I want you to do them in your. You told me you can do a plum voice. So
I can't do the plum voice.
You have to do one of them in the plum voice. Do it.
Oh God! I think it's been too long since I watched it, which means like a week. When I met Brian, Brian Burns is one of the show writers on Bravest Warriors. He tried to get me to do the plum voice, and I was just like, no.
You have to do it. You have to do it. You have to do it. Do it. The old man, the one with the old man.
I don't think I get. My heart's beating so fast.
It's just Plum. That's just what she does to you.
She does. Plum causes me a lot of emotions.
Okay. Well, you don't have to. Just
I'll do a couple of them first, and then we'll see.
Okay, we'll see where we go.
I don't know if Plum. So these cards, which you can integrate into your Monopoly deck, feature. You said it was from the 1910.
Yeah, so really old. They look very similar, but they're slightly different.
So these ones are like Creative Commons or whatever now at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares.
That was my intention.
So they're just so great, and I was trying to explain them to my coworkers when I was opening them, and they were just like, "I don't understand." I was like, "No, it's like weird fiction Monopoly, right?"
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if you like it and you get it, it's like immediately. It's like, oh great. Yeah. It's like no amount of words could explain.
All right, I'll read a few chance and a few community chest cards here.
Okay.
Chance, which features an image of a man, the Monopoly man and his wife embracing, says, "Steal a moment from the Reaper, advance towards death, regardless." Chance, which features the Monopoly man on a train that says, "Toot." Use a train however you want. No one can tell you how to live your life. Chance, featuring the Monopoly man in a prison outfit being kicked in the behind. They think they can kick you. They were correct. You have no rights. I think that might actually be my personal favorite. Community chest, featuring the Monopoly man with a broken leg and two crutches. This art is very violent.
Yeah, the old art is weird.
It's really weird. The limitations of flesh are an illusion. Heal the mind, the body will follow. Community chest, featuring the Monopoly man flying out of a birdcage, says, "Only one cage remains. Fly toward the sun."
That one actually used to be the get out of jail free card.
Oh, yeah, it says this card may be kept until needed or sold.
Yeah.
I love these so much.
Which is technically true about all of the cards.
Yes. I also enjoy Community Chest. You lived well. Relive decades of debauchery in the harem of your mind.
All right, I want to hear you try to do that one in the plum voice. That's the one.
You lived well. I can't do it. It's too embarrassing.
That was perfect. Come on.
I know. This is so bad. I'm gonna get it wrong, and then people are gonna listen to it and be like, "You were bluffing. You can't do Plum's voice."
No, they'll know. Plum.
She would never say this. I can't.
Okay,
I can't.
do the one. Okay, then do the one with the cop. I bet you do that one.
Oh, wait, which is the one with the cop? Oh. A soldier of the city-state attacks. Laud his heroism. I can't. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
That was fantastic.
That's my plum voice.
She was here, I think.
Cohen is a ghost. In this and nothing else, he is truly free. That's the last one in the set that you can get. And it has little Cohen icon. Was that all right? Did I do okay? Did I pass the test?
Fantastic. There were actually a lot of them you didn't read, and I'm glad, because now people have to go buy them.
I tried to do about half so that people would have something to look for and look forward to.
Exactly. Perfect.
There we go. Oh, I'm so, flustered. I can't. Doing voices is, for some reason, for a person who talks this much, it's fine. So we did kind of talk about all of your favorite comics. Or at least, do you have any others that you would like to throw out there?
Yes, I would like to throw out The Unwritten, which is something I feel was written just for me. But I hope other people like it too. So it's Mike Carey and Peter Gross they first teamed up when they did Lucifer, the sequel to Sandman, which for a long time was my all-time favorite comic series ever, because I had an enormous crush on Lucifer, and he was just so cool. And I used to read it the whole series every 6 months or something.
Wow!
And so Unwritten is, I think it's wrapping up. It starts off with this guy, and he's at a comics convention. So that's good. And he seems like his father wrote something that seems like a sort of like a Harry Potter knockoff, but he shares the name of the main character. His name is Tom Taylor, and while he's at this convention, sort of just fielding questions, because this book series is massively successful, but his dad has disappeared. While he's fielding these questions, this girl stands up and asks, "Who are you?" Because apparently all of these details from his past are not really known, and it ends up becoming this. It's not metafiction, because I don't like metafiction. I don't know how you describe it. I guess interfiction, but that sounds kind of dirty. It's like there's this collective unconscious that all stories tap into, and there's ancient cabals, and there's a Leviathan that is also words, and there's a vampire, and they traipse in and across London and the United States and Australia and in and out of stories, and they're chased by someone who may be the devil, and he has a wooden hand that kills people by turning them into words.
Right.
And it is just, oh my God, it takes until about the fourth trade until you have any idea what's going on. But then
that's a lot to ask of the reader.
But it's really fun the whole time. It's just really mysterious, and at that point, it's oh my God, it's kind of like Lost.
I feel like The Wicked and the Divine is doing that to me right now, where I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I'm going to.
That's the Pantheon one.
Yes, it is.
Right, where they have avatars.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to. I'm going to get into that.
It's very good.
Pretty soon.
I pointed out earlier in the show that in the 6th issue, Kieran Gillen insults me personally in the back matter of the issue, which is fantastic. We are friends. It was a friendly jab.
That's what I figured.
Although I do take a great deal of pleasure imagining people that sincerely don't like me reading that and taking it seriously. Because it comes across pretty deadpan. Jill Pantozzi, actually, in our last episode, she really talked about was The Unwritten. So it's funny that it's come out two shows in a row. No, I mean, you had described it completely differently in a whole bunch of different elements that I didn't know about. But having two people whose opinions on comics I respect so much recommend it so highly that now I'm like, okay, well, I have to check it out, because I had read about half the first trade paperback probably 2 years ago, and I didn't really get into it. But I feel like I need to try it again because everyone seems to love it. Whose opinions I respect.
Oh well, thank you.
Well, of course. Were there any others?
Let me think, because I don't want to be chatterbox here. Let me have to think. I had a bunch of stuff. I had stuff come in. I'm about to read. This is probably point about. I'm about to read Bittersweets. Have you heard of it?
I've
read that.
I've heard of it.
My copy I got for Christmas got ruined along with a couple of other comics.
I saw that. That was
It's
awful.
a nightmare. Yeah, but it came in. My replacement came in today, so I'm excited about that.
Well, did you know, Cohen, if you're still listening to this around January 6th and or 7th, that you can get either Seeing Red or Bittersweets on Comixology for $3 and $4 respectively. Did you know that?
I didn't. That's an insane bargain.
What an incredible deal. So,
oh, my goodness.
See, I'm being enterprising.
You know what people should do? They should order it through their local comic shop or on Amazon or whatever. And while it's getting there, if it's not already there, they should also buy it on Comixology.
They should do both so that they have both copies.
Yes.
Such as how I have both the vinyl copy of Taylor Swift's 1989 and the digital download, both of which I paid for.
Right, and you also have that. You also just have the recording of yourself singing the album, right?
Yes, but that's just for personal use.
Yeah, but I mean, you do have it.
Yeah, of course.
You got to count that. She's been. God, I did not expect that. That's not. I guess that's what she does, though. She's beguiling.
She is.
She beguiled me.
Truly a good witch.
Yeah.
I think.
She beguiled my dad, too, which was...
I love that your dad loves 1989. Oh, and just Taylor Swift in general. It makes me so happy.
I mean, for their 50th birthday, my mom... when they both turned 50, my mom, I think she got a really nice pair of cowboy boots, and my dad, they went to a Madonna concert.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my parents.
That makes me
like
very
in a nutshell,
happy.
right there.
Well, Cohen, I'm going to do my little outro bit now. I feel like if I reference everything as I'm doing it, it seems a lot more natural. So if people want to find you on the internet, obviously they can support you financially by visiting your Etsy shop, which is just Cohen is a Ghost. I've found it myself, so you too
Good.
can find it. And I know on Twitter you're at Skullmandible. Where else can people find you, seek you out?
Yeah, let's see. I got Skullmandible is on Tumblr. I'll put some of the longer stuff. I mean, just Skullmandible. I don't know how Tumblr. It's Tumblr. Whatever. I'll put some of the longer, like if I've done like drawings or whatever on Twitter. I'll put some of that on there, and I've written a couple little longer things.
Mm-hmm.
I have an about.me page that I just set up because I felt like I needed to have some kind of thing that was not just my Twitter.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in hiring me to write,
which you should,
which you should, because I am just a delight on the written page. That is
and in person, I believe.
Oh yeah. Which I think so too. Go ahead and move to the United States. Go ahead and do it. Leave your frigid north.
I'm trying really hard. I'm working on it. All of the people that can help me do that, we're on Christmas vacation, so I'm going hard back at the old lawyers.
The old lawyers.
The old lawyers.
The old lawyers.
The old law folk.
Say he lives at the edge of town.
Yes.
No one sees him.
Nah,
right.
My boyfriend is too handsome not to live in the same 1,000 miles as.
Yeah. You live on like the.
I live about
the wrong side.
We live about 4,000 miles apart. Yeah, three or four, Christ. Something like that. I'm as far east as you get, and he's about as far west as you get. So.
Yeah, and as far south, right? LA.
Yeah, and I'm.
Magnifies.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, star-crossed.
Indeed. So on that, your about.me thing. Anything else that you want to mention, throw out there before we depart into the night?
Yeah, that was about.me. Whatever, Cohen.Edenfield. Putting my actual name out there, very bold. But no, I think. Thank you for having me. You've been a lovely host.
Oh, well, you've been a lovely guest.
Thank you. I look forward to listening to this and cringing every time I say something stupid.
Oh, I do that every time. I have like a personal game where every time I listen to the show, I can hear one word that I say too many times, and it's a different word every show. So every time I think I've capped it and like learned to stop saying excited or stoked so many times, the next episode I will say absurdly or rad too many times.
Do you want to know what it was for this show?
What was it for this show?
It was actually elegant. You said it 17 times.
You would think I would remember that, but again, I think I just get so swept up in the moment.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
No, I know. I was playing along. We were doing a bit.
Yeah, and I killed it.
You did.
Sorry.
Get out.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Cohen.
All right, thank you, Kate.
Bye.
I know that you want into the pages inside my heart.
Well, that's our show. I'm returning to the sun-drenched shores of California, where at least it's not winter, to hide out with my boyfriend and watch Lord of the Rings all over again, even though we just did, which is how I want to live my life all the time. We'll be back in about 2 weeks with another episode, maybe on location, maybe over Skype, who knows? We're making this up as we go, and you know it. In the meantime, rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. If you like our show and want to make all of our dreams come true in the new year, consider donating on villagesoundcast.com, or you can participate in our Patreon at patreon.com/lessthanlive, where not only you keep the lights on, but you get fun perks and you get to ask questions for the show before anybody else. So that's fun. If you've got questions or you want more, you can find us on Facebook or on Twitter at LTLcast, and you can get show notes after every episode at lessthanlivecast.tumblr.com. You can also find more information about the contest we talked about this episode there and on villagesoundcast.com. Hope you all had a really great holiday and a great 2015 already and in the future. Keep reading comics. I'll miss you.
I don't know how you don't know this by now, but this was a Village Soundcast Network original production.
And you will listen, and you will respect.